Time to start thinking of a Welsh foreign policy. This is an article I wrote for Cambria magazine in 2008. It was then published in my anthology, The Phenomenon of Welshness, How Many Aircraft Carriers Would an Independent Wales Have? I'll read the prologue and then the article. There are one or two very minor changes to the original article. The economic poverty of Wales is as nothing compared to the poverty of ambition many people have for Wales. If Wales and Welshness isn't intellectually exciting and doesn't offer people interesting career paths, then it's no wonder people leave our land and others have never heard of it. For me, the Welsh experience is a holistic one. It encapsulates a vision for Wales and an international context to our identity, which is both rewarding and interesting. Not to develop an independent Welsh foreign policy is to regulate Welsh aspirations to a lower division and to forfeit a Welsh worldview with its own morality and priorities. It relegates Wales and Welshness to a childlike identity, one which doesn't trouble its pretty little head with grown-up ideas. Having been born in Zambia, and with a great interest in European affairs and history, a Welsh foreign policy is a natural dimension to my identity. When I came across the ideas of the Polish leader Piłsudski, it seemed to me an obvious template for Wales to follow, and one which instinctively so many individuals and institutions already do. Time to start thinking about Welsh foreign policy. The 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing underlined Wales's invisibility on the world stage. Lumped with Tibet and other submerged nations, our flag banned, Wales was airbrushed from the world map. It seems that for Wales to be recognised as an Olympic country, it would need to be a sovereign state. But apart from fielding her own team at the Olympic Games, how else would a sovereign Wales wish to be represented internationally? And, to take it a step further, what kind of foreign policy would she follow? Poland, like Wales, is a country which has consistently been made invisible in world atlases. The great Polish interwar leader, Jozéf Piłsudski, formulated a foreign policy doctrine before the outbreak of the First World War, which he believed would gain Poland's sovereignty, secure her borders, and enhance her leading position in Eastern Europe. I'd like to suggest we follow something similar to it here in Wales. The doctrine included two complementary strands. One was YesCymru, often translated as Intermarium, between the seas, that is the Baltic and Black and Mediterranean Sea. It meant the creation of a federation of Central and Eastern European countries from Finland to Estonia down to Yugoslavia. The other was Prometheism. Prometheism aims was to weaken the Russian Empire and its successor, the Soviet Union, by supporting the independence movements of the major non-Russian peoples that lived within her borders. Piłsudski had the foresight to see that a sovereign Poland could only survive in a mosaic of other new sovereign states. This big idea continues today and is the moral guideline for successive Polish governments. It's the reason Poland was a strong supporter for the Ukrainian Orange Revolution in 2006, of Georgia during the 2008 war, and of the Belarusian language and pro-democracy activists. In the same way, Wales cannot survive and will not exist if it is part of a Western Europe of a few ancien regime nation states. It is only with the weakening of these centralized states and the strengthening through strategy of our Intermarium, from the Celtic to the Mediterranean Sea, of smaller nations from Scotland to Catalonia, that Wales can flourish. How would the doctrine advance Wales's interests in concrete policy areas? Like all foreign policy doctrines, its first call is to defend and promote Wales's economic and cultural interests. These economic interests include Welsh produce and services, and increasingly Welsh energy and water. Wales is already a net exporter of electricity, and the South Wales valleys are sitting on approximately 13 trillion cubic feet of coal bed methane gas. This and water could be a valuable commodity, and our offshore winds and tidal powers. But economic projects would not only be the only concern of a Welsh foreign policy. The morality of the Welsh state is the defence and promotion of the Welsh language and expressions of Welshness and English. The doctrine of Intermarium and Prometheism across Western Europe would give strength and context to this morality in a way which is lacking today. The more power Scotland or Catalonia have, the stronger Wales will become, as the march towards Welsh sovereignty will only happen in a Western European-wide movement. The existence of a Welsh state is a deeply moral one, and the morality of that state calls for its defence. Wales would therefore seek military alliances. NATO, as the biggest and strongest alliance of democratic states, would be the obvious choice. But an independent Wales would have a choice to form its own alliances and fight its own wars or not fight, and could, for instance, follow the Irish who participate in the Nordic EU battle group. The Welsh doctrine of Intermarium and Prometheism would welcome the fresh air let into foreign affairs by the disintegration of the old Westphalian consensus of sovereign state sovereignty. This doctrine, since 1648, has called for the non-interference in the affairs of states and the inviolability of existing borders. The wilting away of this doctrine following the Kosovo War and unilateral Russian recognition of Abkhazia and South Ossetia independence in 2008 brings with it uncertainty, but also opportunity. It was a doctrine which has habitually ignored when great powers so wished, but was used as a thin excuse when they were called to act on an ethical foreign policy. Why should Wales, with a history as a stateless nation, uphold a doctrine which has consistently ignored the rights of stateless nations? Our foreign policy will be Wilsonian in outlook and will recognise the right of nations as well as states, which aren't always the same nor part of the same integral borders. But in a post-Westphalian theatre, with pressures of demography and resources, Wales will recognise the need for strong alliances in a world where might will be right. Wales has a golden opportunity to be a world leader. Intermarium and Prometheism gave us guidelines. Whilst all Western countries place human rights on the top of their foreign policy agenda, though not obviously as clear as it should be, none openly defines human rights as including linguistic rights. As Intermarium and Prometheism are the only intellectual, credible and logical strategies for a Welsh foreign policy, how will they be built? Wales has a strong and proud history of international sporting relationships on which to build, as well as long-standing membership of many common international bodies in its own right, from the Commonwealth to the Anglican Communion. There are also now, in 2008, 31 foreign consulates based in Cardiff from countries as diverse as Brazil and Kazakhstan. Since the opening of the Assembly in 1999, other steps have also been taken, steps which are, by the way, intentionally or unintentionally Intermarian. The government has signed several memoranda of understanding with the Breton Regional Council on the 16th of January 2004, with Latvia, and on the 13th of May 2004, the Argentine province of Chubut, which includes the Wladva, the Welsh-speaking colony. Over the years, the Welsh people have also been active internationally in a way that is instinctively Intermarian. This has manifested itself in the formation of such bodies as Cymdeithas Cymru Llydaw, the Wales Brittany Society, participation in the Inter-Celtic Festival and with the Celtic League, and in other more structured settings due to the need for Wales to form alliances. This has led to the formation of the Celtic Film and Television Festival, and for the Welsh Language Board's membership of the EU's Network for the Promotion of Linguistic Diversity, launched in June 2008. The visit by Westminster's Welsh Affairs Committee to the Basque Country and Catalonia to study globalisation and its impact on Wales in April 2004 is a recognition that these strategic international alliances have stepped from the realm of the abstract to mainstream political discourse. In a multipolar world, Wales would naturally take on board a multipolar identity. Wales may wish to play the Celtic identity, a combined Celtic rugby touring team, or fielding a Celtic cricket association like the West Indies in the next World Cup. Likewise, Wales could instigate a policy of country twinning, as it already does to all extents and purpose with the southern African state of Lesotho through Dolen Cymru Lesotho. In an extended EU, it may wish to extend the logic of Intermarium to create a bloc of small sovereign states within the EU, uniting the peripheries from Estonia across to Scotland and Ireland, down to Catalonia over to Kosovo, a political and economic counterweight to the so-called core. But firstly, Welsh civic society needs to take Wales seriously. We possess a world-renowned Department for International Politics in Aberystwyth University, which has produced no study of any kind on Wales's role in the world. It could host a biennial international conference of Wales's strategic interests along the lines of the Königswinter conferences, which are held to develop and enhance Anglo-German relationships. Implementing the Welsh Foreign Policy Doctrine would mean investing in a foreign presence, an investment which will enhance job prospects and ambitions within Wales. This can be developed immediately, building on our existing devolution settlement and foreign offices, and need not go as far as full diplomatic relations. These Welsh centres could combine the role of bodies such as the German Goethe Institute or Euskal Basque House, and be a focus of Welsh culture in foreign cities, a place to learn Welsh, produce Welsh produce and services, and include a deli and restaurant, see conferences, and even offer accommodation. They would be located in the main Weltstädte from Washington, D.C. to Beijing. The cost of a network of YesCymru? Well, as a guideline, the British Council's 2006-07 funding from the Westminster government was 188 million. As a percentage of this according to population, Welsh taxpayers already contribute some £9 million. A similar figure for YesCymru, with added income from sales and events, would offer Wales a bespoke window onto the world which could happen now. But an independent Wales could go a step further and afford its own diplomatic missions. Ireland has 74 missions across the world, including 55 embassies. This comes at a price, of course, but then at present, Welsh taxes also go to supporting the UK's diplomatic missions and the UK's foreign wars. The question is, would Wales get a better deal from financing its own diplomatic service than chipping into the UK one? I'd suggest our own diplomatic service would be a better deal for our own foreign policy. Well, the UK's Foreign and Commonwealth Office's budget is £1.7 billion. As an indicator, as percentage of population of the UK, the contribution of Wales to the FCO is about £80 million, a little over half the present budget of the Welsh Government's Heritage Ministry, itself one of the smallest departments in WAG. This figure alone would give us a foreign policy and diplomatic service of about the same size of Ireland's, some 1,400 members of staff in 74 diplomatic missions worldwide. Wales could also pool resources with other Britannic or EU nations, as the Scandinavians have done with their joint offices in Berlin. Wales's money would be for the first time spent on a dedicated diplomatic service working 24/7 for Welsh interests. Jozéf Piłsudski's doctrine of Intermarium and Prometheism has served Poland well and given it a moral standing and courage which many states lack and which Wales really needs. When the Olympic Games were last held in London in 1908, there was no Polish flag to represent the Polish nation. The strategy of Intermarium and Prometheism has helped secure an Olympic team for Poland and for many other former stateless nations. The same strategy could gain for Wales and other historic nations full recognition at the Olympics in the future. Cumbria, Volume 10, Number 3, September, October 2008.